They say that the heart of every home is the kitchen, but for 50 years, my kitchen was my prison. My name is Martha, and for 5 decades, I was the invisible engine that kept this family running. I was the chef, the maid, the laundress, the babysitter, and the therapist. I broke my back so they could stand tall. I spent 40 years making sure my husband's shirts were crisp and his dinner was hot the second he walked through the door. I spent 30 years raising children who grew up to be adults who still expect me to do their laundry when they visit. And for the last 10 years, I've been the free daycare for grandchildren whose parents don't even ask if I have plans before dropping them off. 50 years of service. And in all that time, do you know how many times someone asked me, "Martha, are you tired?" Or, "Mom, can I help with the dishes?" Not once. I was the family slave, hidden in plain sight, and they loved me not for who I was, but for what I did for them. But this Thanksgiving, the oven stayed cold. This Thanksgiving, the slave walked out of the kitchen and into the light. The name of this channel is Spilled at Dinner, and today, the only thing being served is a long overdue reality check. Every year, Thanksgiving was my personal marathon of misery. I would start prep on Tuesday. I'd be up at 5 a.m. on Thursday to get the 20-pound turkey in the oven. I'd peel 40 pounds of potatoes until my knuckles bled. My children, David and Karen, would arrive with their families, sit on my sofa, drink my wine, and complain that the football game was too loud or that the appetizers were late. My husband, Harold, would sit at the head of the table like a king, carving the bird I cooked, accepting all the compliments as if he had done anything other than show up. When the meal was over, they'd all migrate to the living room for a nap, leaving me alone with a mountain of greasy pots and pans. This year, I felt a click in my soul. It happened 3 weeks ago when Karen called me. She didn't ask how my hip surgery recovery was going. She said, "Mom, just so you know, we're bringing 8 people this year instead of 4. Also, Brian is doing a keto diet now. So make sure there are plenty of low-carb options. See you at noon?" She hung up before I could say a word. That was the moment. The click. On Thanksgiving morning, my family arrived at noon, exactly as expected. They walked into the house, but there was no smell of sage or roasted poultry. The house was silent. Harold was the first to notice. He walked into the kitchen and found me. I wasn't wearing an apron. Was wearing a silk dress I bought for myself 20 years ago and never had an occasion to wear. Sitting at the dining table, which was completely bare, no tablecloth, no silver, nothing. Add a glass of expensive Cabernet in my hand and a book in the other. "Martha," Harold stammered, looking around the empty kitchen. "Where's the food? The kids are here. Where's the turkey?" "I didn't cook one, Harold," I said, without looking up from my book. Within minutes, the whole family was in the kitchen. David was checking the oven. Karen was opening the fridge. They looked like panicked animals. Mom, what's going on? Is the stove broken? We're starving. I stood up, walked over to the counter, and picked up a stack of envelopes. I handed one to Harold, one to David, and one to Karen. What is this? Karen asked, tearing it open. It's an invoice, I told them. I spent the last week researching the market rate for the services IVE provided to this family since the day David was born. Private chef services, $30 an hour. Housekeeping, $25 an hour. Professional childcare, $40 an hour. On-call personal assistant, $20 an hour. When you factor in overtime and holiday pay for 50 years, the total comes to roughly $2.1 million. They stared at the papers in total silence. Harold's face was turning a dangerous shade of purple. This is a joke, right? Martha, you're our mother. You're my wife. This is what you do. Now, Harold, I said, my voice as steady as a rock. This is what I did. But the contract has expired. Realize that I've spent my life being a resource to be used, not a person to be loved. You don't know my favorite color. You don't know that I hate cooking turkey. You only know that I am the one who makes sure you never have to lift a finger. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was a delivery driver. I walked to the door, took the 6 large boxes from him, and set them on the bare dining table. Pizza's here, I announced. I hope you like pepperoni, because that's all I ordered. You want something else? The kitchen is right there. The ingredients are in the pantry, though you'll have to wash the pans yourselves, as I haven't touched them. The outrage was immediate. Pizza for Thanksgiving, Karen cried. This is a disgrace. What about the traditions? What about the grandkids? The grandkids will be fine with a slice of pizza, Karen, I replied. And as for the traditions, I'm starting a new one. I went to the hallway and pulled out a small high-end suitcase that had been hidden in the closet. Where are you going? Harold demanded. I'm going to the airport, I said. I've been saving my birthday and Christmas money in a separate account for 15 years. I called it my Freedom Fund. I'm flying to Tuscany tonight. I've booked a villa for a month. Cooking, no cleaning, no one calling me Nana or Mom, unless it's followed by how are you feeling today? I looked at my children adults with their own homes and their own lives and saw the realization hitting them. They weren't losing a cook. They were losing their safety net. They were losing the woman they had exploited for decades without a second thought. I love you all, I said, pausing at the door. But I realized that if I didn't stop being your slave, you would never learn how to be my family. The pizza is paid for. The tip was generous. Figure out the dishes amongst yourselves. I walked out the door and didn't look back. The air outside felt crisper and cleaner than it had in 50 years. To every woman watching this who feels like her family sees her as a furniture piece that cooks, it is never too late to send the invoice. It is never too late to order the pizza and buy the plane ticket. Your service is a gift, not an obligation, and if they can't see the value of the gift, they don't deserve the giver. What would you do if your mother or grandmother sat you down with an invoice for 50 years of unpaid labor? Would you feel guilty, or would you be angry? Let's talk about the invisible work of women in the comments. This has been spilled at dinner. I'm off to find some better wine. I'll see you in the next story.